Okay, so book number 11 is already looking like it's going through some tough love, but that's okay because I'm actually really loving this book with the post-its and everything. Welcome back to 23-Minute Reads with me, Maya D. This is kind of like my accountability vlog because in these short videos I share with you my 3 takeaways from my current reading. Right now I'm reading Dance and Belonging by Crystal U. Davis as a part of my 23 to 23 challenge. So what does that mean? That means that every day I'm reading 23 minutes as a way of loving myself, as a way of investing in myself, and providing myself with some consistency in an ever-changing world. And yeah, I hope that you get something out of this. I hope that you will join me in this process by getting some of these books and definitely dropping comments in that comment selection. It's late, y'all. In that comment section so that there's an actual dialogue going on. Having in mind that while I have several decades of experience as a dancer, an educator, and a curriculum writer, I'm not the know-all be-all for this book. I'm simply providing a space for dialogue so that we can all grow stronger together. So this week I read pages, let me flip back. I read pages 46 through 77, and here are my 3 takeaways. Takeaway number 1 is illogical norms. So the book includes these activity boxes, which are a nice way to further experiment and investigate some of the ideas that are brought up in the book. And on page 50 of the book, we find activity box number 6, illogical norms. So right before the activity box is, once again, this way of continuing your study of the information, continuing your experimentation, your investigation of the information. So previous to that, we were introduced to the term hegemony, which can be defined as what is collectively experienced and understood to be true by a society, a culture, or a nation that overrides all other evidence of truth. So if we were to borrow from a earlier not so truth that was offered in the book, we could lend into the falsehood that ballet is the foundation of all other dance forms. And that would also help us to better understand this quote from the book. It reads, "Hegemonic forces center and value ballet and modern dance forms in dance education and marginalize U.S. social dances." So Davis poses this question of why Chicago stepping is not a part of the canon that's taught in U.S. dance educational settings, right? So why isn't it one of the forms that's taught here in the U.S. if it's one of our dance forms? And this is what takes us into that activity number 6. The activity illogical norms asks you to generate a list of things that happen in dance education that once you sift it through the funnel of logic, don't make no sense. So in this case, I propose, why couldn't we value our own dance forms as much as we value other dance forms? Because I assure you that other nations around the world have hip hop, jazz, swing, and ... classes, conferences, companies, and festivals. So why not do it ourselves, right? But if I were to actually respond to that direct question of sifting that thing, that norm, through the funnel of logic, and you're like, what? I would ask, why about the placing of hip hop in world forms dance courses, but not placing ballet in the world form dance course? Because if we're living in the US, hip hop is one of our dance forms, meaning not ours, like we control it, because that's not how vernacular and social dance works, but being clear that hip hop is a dance form that originated in the US. So wouldn't that be in the coursework, and then shifting the ballet into the world form studio because it didn't originate in the US? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below what's coming up for you. What would be on your list if you were to do this activity? And you can also just drop a book in the comments below so I know that you're here with me, because we're going to move on to takeaway number 2. Takeaway number 2 is constriction. In the book, constriction is described as a felt sense of stress, uncertainty, and discomfort in the body. End quote. I should have started that with a felt sense of stress, uncertainty, and discomfort in the body. End quote. I'm still learning how to do this thing. Now, how does this affect the dance world? It can affect aesthetics, what we think is nice. It can affect evaluations and assessments. It can affect critiques about the pieces and other things. Because here's another quote from the book. There's a lot of quotes in this video because the book, the book says it best. So there are a number of quotes in here. So here's the quote. In the field of dance and in the rest of U.S. society, there's a social stratum that signals an unconscious association of constriction and danger in the body when Black bodies are encountered or seen. End quote. Now, this is an unconscious reaction that is embedded in the person's mind and was actually fed by it's late. I'm gonna try that again. That was actually fed by the perpetuation of false narratives, stereotypes, and tropes. So what this means is that a person seeing a Black dancing body could actually be seeing danger and not the actual dance. And therefore, they have this adverse reaction to the experience and might not be able to articulate why they're having this adverse reaction, past saying something like, I just didn't like it. So similar to Davis, I agree that I agree and believe in encouraging our dance students to move past and through comments like, I liked it and I didn't like it, to answering questions like what and why. What did you feel? How did you experience it? And this takes practice. I know that this takes practice, and I know that it doesn't solve everything, but here's what I do know. I know that I've taken this similar method outside of the dance space. So when I find myself having an intense, unpleasant reaction to something, I feel my feelings, and then I ask myself, what's going on? What's coming up? What's the backstory? How did we get here? In order to get some clarity and then be able to better address that situation as I'm moving forward. Moving forward, takeaway number 3 is cognitive dissonance. So here's a quote from the book. The discussion exposed a cognitive dissonance between let's draw that again. Quote. The discussion exposed a cognitive dissonance between how those who suggested this solution perceived themselves and the actual negative effect the solution presented. End quote. So the discussion that is referenced was actually a discussion being held by dance educators, where there was a suggestion to use animal cruelty as an introduction into human cruelty and social justice, because it could be seen as a way to, I'm gonna use the term from the book, soften the potential trauma children might experience. Okay. But that solution also has the potential to reify the absurd connections between people of color and animals. Destabilizing these kinds of notions can be a challenge once they actually take in root. The author reminds us of the social dominance theory that's discussed in chapter 2 and how this affects empathy. What does that mean? A person that perceives themselves to be higher than someone else or a group of other people is going to have a hard time, a more challenging of a time empathizing with that other person or that other group of people. What this book is doing for me is not only one, giving me language to discuss some of these challenges or uglies or however you want to phrase it. It's also helping me to better understand some of the historical atrocities that took place while others watched. But that doesn't mean I'm okay with them. What it actually means for me is that there's hope. It's giving me clarity. It's giving me hope. And my students are giving me hope. During a dance history lecture, one of my students asked, and they were like daggone near in tears, why did they treat people like that? My response was, I'm not sure that they saw them as people. I encourage you to see people as people. My name is Maya D, and this was 23-Minute Reads. Feel free to share your thoughts, your ideas in the comments below, and certainly offer suggestions for more books for us to read. Stay blessed, spread a good word, and I'll see you again soon. Take care.